everyone, so welcome to one of my first sit-down how-to videos. I really want to expand my channel and I thought the perfect video would be obviously about my industrial piercing. An industrial piercing can be one of the hardest piercings to heal piercings because it's actually two piercings connected with one piece of jewelry. So that makes it much more difficult to heal, and that's why I wanted to make a video about it, because mine was no exception. It was quite difficult to heal. So first I'll show you mine. That's what it looks like now. It's, for the most part, it's healed, but it still gets sore some days. My piercer told me that it was healed and that I could go ahead and change the jewelry, so I'm going to listen to her. But how I healed it is what I want to talk about. First and most important tip I can tell you, really, you can apply these rules for really any piercing. I'm just talking about the industrial, but the main tip I would tell you is do not touch your piercing. Do not play with your piercing. The only time you should ever touch a healing piercing is if you have washed your hands and if you're cleaning it. That's the only time you should ever touch it, because moving it around, I think this is what got mine infected, just messing with it a lot, and especially since it's already going to be really agitated, because if you lay on your pillow, it's really easy to bump, you know, all these sorts of things, because it is quite a big piece of jewelry. So the main thing is just don't unnecessarily touch it. To keep it clean and to keep it happy, you should do what your piercer tells you. I should tell you this before I get into all of my tips. I am not a professional piercer. I am a nursing student, but I am not a professional piercer. So take your piercer's advice over mine. I'm just telling you guys what helped heal my piercing. So please, you know, listen to your piercer, and if you have a question or if it looks infected, you should go to your piercer right away. Now that that's out of the way, the first and foremost thing is to keep it clean. And to keep it clean, keep the crusties off, you should have a saltwater mix. Usually your piercer will provide you with sea salt, but in case they don't, I'm sure they have a good reason, or maybe if they want you to go get it on your own, make sure you get sea salt. Basically, table salt has irritants in it that will irritate your piercing, and sea salt is just plain salt, which is what you want. So make sure you get sea salt, and you're just going to want to make a mix. My piercer always said to taste the mix, and if it tastes like a teardrop, that means it's the right saltiness, I guess. This is what I use. I use this little cup. The only thing I use this for is sea salt soaks for my piercings, and it is broken. I just noticed that it's cracked. But usually I'll fill it up to about the 2, and then I just put like salt about right up to there, just a little tiny bit, and then I mix it with a Q-tip until it's all mixed in. And also, this is important too, you always want to test your water on your hand before you put it on your piercing, because you don't want it to be too hot. That's very important. I learned that the hard way. So make sure you do that. So that should keep your piercing nice and happy. I usually did the sea salt soaks probably about once a day. That usually was enough for me. If I did it more than that, it would dry out my piercing. And if I did it less than that, it would just get crusty. So once a day was good for me, but you know, it varies from person to person. So that should keep it happy, but being an industrial piercing, they are very spiteful, mean. Being the hard piercings that they are, one of the first problems I dealt with was hypertonic scarring. Don't be alarmed when you get hypertonic scarring. I freaked out when I first felt it. It really freaked me out because it's like a big bump. And unfortunately, I don't have a picture to show you guys, but you can look it up on Google, hypertonic scarring. It's literally a big bump on your piercing hole, and it's like really gross looking and weird looking. So needless to say, I was freaked out a bit. But I did some research, talked to my piercer, and came to the conclusion that the best treatment would be tea tree oil. If it'll focus. Anyways, it doesn't want to focus, but basically this is tea tree oil. You can get this in the first aid aisle is where I got it, in the store where all the Band-Aids, hydrogen peroxide and stuff is. And yeah, it just says 100% tea tree oil. And I applied that once every other day along with my sea salt soaks. And you can, honestly, you could skip probably 2 days in a row. Like if you do it Wednesday, skip Thursday and Friday, then do it Saturday, and then skip Sunday, do it Monday, like that, because tea tree oil really dried out my piercing along with the sea salt soaks. So you want to be careful, you know, not to do too much to the area, because that can be bad as well. But eventually the hypertonic scarring went away. Now if you have a keloid, those are a totally different story. From what I've heard, you do have to get those removed by a doctor. So yeah, they're two different things, and usually you can tell the difference. I think it's like keloids, they aren't painful, but hypertonic scarring is. I don't know, they're very similar, but they're different, if that makes any sense. So that's what helped my hypertonic scarring. So then my piercing, you know, went on a little while, and then it got infected. I'm pretty sure it got infected. I mean, I didn't have a fever or anything, but it was, my ear was swollen, it was red, and it had some discharge. It didn't look, the discharge wasn't too abnormal. It was just like the stuff that makes the crusties, like the white blood cells, but it was just a lot of it. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure it was infected. So that freaked me out too, because I was like, oh my goodness. First one thing, now another. But I healed that too. Now this is where the controversy comes in, because a lot of people say don't use this on piercings, but to be honest, I felt like, I guess because I am a nursing student, I felt like it was the most logical option and the best option to do. Basically just use this at your own risk. If you feel that it'd be okay to use, that it would help you, then go right ahead. It helped me. But if you think that I'm stupid for doing it, then don't do it. So I used hydrogen peroxide, and this probably won't focus. Oh, it's gonna focus. Yeah, so I just used regular hydrogen peroxide. I don't think it says the percentage, but it's just basic first aid antiseptic. And what I did was I took a Q-tip and I just rubbed it all around both the holes and around the jewelry, and rubbed it all over my ear and make sure it got really in the holes. And I think I did that for 2 or 3 days tops, because it healed really fast after that. And then after that, I really haven't had any problems since. And anytime my ear hurts now, I just put a little hydrogen peroxide near the hole and it fixes it the next day. So, you know, a lot of people say don't use this for many reasons, but I don't think you should use it just to clean your piercing, because, you know, that can lead to irritation. But if it's full-blown infected, then that's what I would recommend. But of course, if the infection is really bad, go to a professional. Don't try to treat it at home. Like I said, I didn't have a fever and I wasn't totally sure it was an infection, so I was just gonna treat it at home. And if it didn't clear up within 2 days, I would have gone back to my piercer, because, you know, infections are nothing to be messed with, especially with an industrial piercing. But one last tip: if you do get an infection or think that your piercing is infected, no matter what piercing it is, never remove the jewelry. I know you think it'll put some relief on the infection or it'll help it somehow, but it won't. It'll make it worse. It'll just trap all of what's trying to come out into your body, and it'll make a big growth, and it'll just be really, really bad and really painful. So whatever you do, leave your jewelry in at all times. So that is pretty much how to heal an industrial piercing. I will show you. So this silver bar in here is what I got pierced with, and then this little plastic one is one I actually had to put in for my surgery because I had surgery after I had gotten this pierced, and so I got that online. And then I got this really cute one, it has a little cupcake on it. I absolutely love my industrial piercing. I love how it's, you know, not your usual piercing, and you can get all these kinds of cute jewelry, and I really love it. So if you want it, I say definitely go for it. It was painful to get, but it's totally worth the pain in my opinion. So that's all I can really think about telling you guys about my industrial piercing. But if you have any questions or want to know something about my experience when I got it, just leave them in the comment section below and I will be happy to answer. I really hope this video helped. You know, this is my first tip video, so go easy on me. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Bye!